Hello, I'm glad you're here. We are going to be talking about why AI sounds generic and how to fix it. And this is something that I wish I knew so much more earlier on. I wish I had these tools when I first started with AI. I am somebody that jumped on the AI bandwagon very early. And I was creating content for other people. I was working as a VA and I was also a cycle coach. So I was creating content for my own business. And my content was just coming out super robotic, and it was just so obvious that it was AI. That was kind of the main thing, is that it didn't sound like me. Even though I thought I was doing all the right steps, it still didn't sound like me. And just it took me a while to learn the tools to how to make it actually sound like me. So that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about here. And I'm going to show you a simple four-part formula that changes everything. So let's get into it. So here's what most people are doing wrong. They are treating AI like a search engine. And not that it can't be used for that, but it can go so far beyond that. So they type in a few words and then they wait for the magic to happen. And then they get not magic. So AI is not a database. It is more of a creative partner. And again, you do use it for research, but you always need to check your facts when you're using it for research. But but really for me, using it for research is again sparking that creativity so that I can know where to go search deeper. So it's a creative partner and it's an eager one that genuinely wants to help you. I don't know if anybody's had conversations with ChatGPT, but it is just like your little personal cheerleader. I call Chatty I call ChatGPT Chatty, which I know many people do. I have been working with Claude more, and both of them are really uplifting. Sometimes that can be to a fault. Sometimes you need a little tough love, and you can say that too. It's all about how you train your AI, which we're talking about right now. But for the most part, they're going to really cheer you on and want to help you. They want to help you. The robot wants to help you. Whatever you ask it to do, it's going to try its best to do it. But it needs the right information in order to help you. So let's look at an example of what I would call a weak prompt. So something like write me an Etsy listing. If you're not giving it context, it's not going to work well. So you could even type this up, and if you wanted to pull up ChatGPT while you're watching this and compare what you get, you'll see the difference. But it's not going to have your voice. It doesn't know your audience. What I actually have been really enjoying about Claude is that Claude will actually ask you questions and give you bullet points of what it thinks the answer is. So it's easy for you to answer that questions, because I know sometimes people are like, "Oh, it's asking me too many questions and I don't want to think about that all right now." But those questions are key to give you better information. And I like that it gives you bullet points so they're easy. So you may hear me talk about Claude a few times because I'm just loving it right now. But I also think ChatGPT is an absolutely fantastic tool. And I'm actually subscribed to both right now and using both quite regularly. So any AI text-based tool you can use this with. But it doesn't know your audience, it doesn't have your voice, and it doesn't have any details. What is this Etsy listing about? So this is what I would call weak, and it's not going to really help you. Now, here's the fix. We need four things we need to give the ChatGPT or Claude or any AI based tool four things in order to get the results that are actually going to be useful. So it needs to know the role, so you can tell the AI who you want it to be. It needs to know the context, so tell it about your product or your customer. The task, tell it exactly what you want it to do, and the format, tell it how you want it delivered. So those four things, if you can keep them in mind, they're going to really help you to write better prompts. And that's what this really all comes down to, is prompt engineering and writing prompts that are going to give you the results that you want the first time. So let's build this out piece by piece. If we start with the role, you are telling the AI who you want it to be. So in this example, you are an expert Etsy copywriter who specializes in SEO and storytelling for handmade brands. That one sentence is going to completely change the lens that it writes in. So then we can add the context. This is your background story. So what are you selling? Who is your customer? Why it matters? So I am launching a new collection of moody floral watercolor clip art for digital planners. So now AI, it knows who it's speaking, who you want it to be, so how it should behave, and what it is working with. It has more context now. Moving on to the task, be specific about what you actually want. So in the previous one, that week one, we wrote just write an Etsy listing. That didn't give it the information that it needed. So instead, we can say write a 3-paragraph Etsy listing description that highlights the hand painted feel and versatility for small business owners. Then we can move on to the format. And this is the one that a lot of people do skip, but it's going to help you, again, not have to go back and forth with it a lot. So for this example, we could be telling it, do we want bullet points or paragraphs? Do we want it to be casual or polished? Do we want it to be short or detailed? It doesn't know until you tell it. So if you tell it, you're going to get the results you want. So we could say use bullet points for features, a friendly tone, and include 13 relevant tags at the end. So the AI loves to have clear guidelines. Constraints are good. It's okay to tell it what you don't want it to do and to tell it exactly what you want it to do. The more specific you are, it's just going to lead to less editing later. So now we have this fuller prompt that's a lot stronger. So we can use the same tools, but we're going to get completely different results than if we had used just write me an Etsy listing. When we include the role, the context, the task, and the format, it's going to give us a stronger result that we can use right away. And this can be used in anything. Obviously, I'm using an Etsy listing as an example, but you could use this in any way that you're using AI. Hello, Nikki. Oh, I'm so glad I can actually see the comments and it's working properly. Hello. So 3 bonus moves before we wrap up. Oh, perfect. Oh, it's 4:23 a.m. My goodness. Oh, you are up late. Yes, watch the replay later. Have a good sleep. So first, negative prompting, which I just mentioned. Tell it what you don't want. So don't use words like delve or unleash. There's so many words that AI just always uses that are giveaways. Or the worst one that I'm sure everyone knows is the M dash, that long dash. I feel like maybe it is grammatically, I can't say that word. Maybe it's right to use, but no one used it before. And so it's just so obvious it comes from AI. And it's not that we're trying to fool people that we're using AI. We're just trying to make it look authentic and sound authentic. So AI loves to use certain words, but do you really sound like that? Does an Etsy buyer talk like that? And is that going to resonate with them? No. So use words that sound like you. And sometimes that requires being specific and telling it things you don't want. And then secondly, it is, hello, Angela. Hi. Sorry, I'm looking down at my phone to see the comments because it doesn't show me on my screen, but it is a conversational tool. And that's what I love about it. So have a conversation and teach it. So if you get a result you don't like the first time, tell it exactly what you didn't like. Instead of taking that content out and then editing it outside of AI, I would edit it inside of the chat at least a bit to say, this is actually what I didn't like. Can you not use this word? Because every time you do that, you're actually teaching it how to behave. Especially, you do need to have your memory turned on, which possibly it is on default for ChatGPT, but you can go into your settings and check on Claude and on ChatGPT. You want to make sure your memory's turned on so that it can remember things that you've told it for when you have next chats. So things like that's too corporate or make it warmer or that's the format's not correct. Anything, work with it. The first starting point is really just your first draft and you can refine from there. But when we use proper prompts, we're going to get to that place that we want it to be at much quicker. And then the last thing is giving it an example. So paste in something that you wrote that you loved, or go to some Etsy bestsellers and look at how they write their descriptions. Maybe go find 3 Etsy bestsellers in the same niche as you and copy their descriptions and say, look at these 3 and help me write my own unique one based off of these. Or if you're wanting to infuse your tone of voice, which I may cover this more in another lesson, but if you're wanting to infuse your own tone of voice, grabbing something you've written or even a transcript of a video you've done, putting that in and saying, make it sound more like me. Can you tell Chatty to save something to its memory? I'm not actually positive on that because it is interesting for me to see. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about moving over from ChatGPT to Claude, and I've done an export. And I know what people have been doing is they've been going to ChatGPT and saying, give me an output of everything you have in the memory. And some of the things that it decides to keep are quite interesting to me. So I'm not actually sure. I'll look into that because I am really curious now that you asked. I don't know if I would even believe it if I was to ask it because, again, I feel like Chatty is just a people pleaser and says yes a lot of times, even when it's not true. It lies to you a little bit. I don't find Claude is as bad with that. It'll more say, I can't do that. I don't know, where ChatGPT is like, we got this, even if it's not true. So I'm not sure the correct answer on that, but I'll look into that for you. So yeah, telling it what you don't want, working with it, editing it in the chat, and then giving examples can help you get better prompts too. It does lie to us, right? And sometimes we need that little hype up, so it's not always a bad thing, but. And here's one more example. If you're looking for product ideas, a weak prompt would be something generic. Give me 5 digital product ideas for Etsy. You need to be more specific. So again, where can you bring in the role, the context, missing the last one, the role, the context, the task, and the format. So here's a better prompt. I'm a graphic designer who loves vintage botanicals. Give me 5 unique digital products for busy moms who want to organize their home office. So you're telling it who you are, you're telling it what you're looking for, you're giving it specifically what you want the output to be. You want it to be 5 unique products, who your audience is. This is going to give you much clearer results. So just to recap, role is define how you want ChatGPT to act, who you want it to be for you. So you could say like Etsy strategist or a copywriter, things like that. The context is share the why and the who. So why you're looking for this and who you're looking for it for, whether it's for yourself or for your audience. The task is state the specific deliverable. So what exactly do you want it to give you? And then the format, define the structure and the tone. So, sorry, in that last example, 5 unique digital products would be the task. You're asking it for specific deliverables. And then how do you want it to sound? How do you want to have that information? For example, I do clip art prompts a lot, and I'm very specific about how I want it to come out. I say, give me the title of what the image is. Give me the prompt without quotations because I want to easily be able to copy and paste it into my image generation. Give me 10 main elements. Give me 10 supporting elements. Give me 5 word art images to go with it. 5 seamless patterns to go with it, for example, just being really specific and giving it a template to follow of how I want it to write my prompts. So again, giving it an example can be really helpful. So yes, we can just jump in there and say whatever to AI, but we're not always going to get the result. And if you don't know these things offhand, jump in there, play with it, ask it, what do you need from me to make this better? It works really well when you do that too. But to get quicker results, we want to start with a prompt. That's really the key to using AI strategically, is having good prompts. And if you can have a good prompt from the start, it's going to give you quicker results faster. And that's what we are really, my intention here is to help you use AI to speed things up. So go ahead and try this. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you get better results, if you are being more specific. If there is something that you are working with that you want opinions on, how could I formulate this prompt better, let us know because we can all work together and give some opinions. I'm happy to share. And again, asking the AI is always a good idea. I'm not getting the results I want. How does this prompt need to be rewritten? And you can say, how can I rewrite this prompt so it includes the role, the context, the task, and the format? Oh, Cynthia, I'm so glad to hear that this is really going to help. I'd love to hear how it goes. And then if you're curious about more ideas on how you can use AI in your business, I have created the AI Idea Bank, which I'll link below this. It's also already linked in the group, and it's filled with 200 plus ideas. I think it's close to 300 ideas of how you can start using AI in your digital product business. So very specific to us Etsy sellers. And if there is an idea in there that you're like, oh, I'd love to do that, but I don't know how to do that, because it is just right now, it's ideas of how to start using AI. Again, you can take it to Chatty, you can take it to your chat, Claude, and you can workshop it or come to the group because I would be happy. I am planning to do a tutorial, like I said, every week. So I'm going to need ideas from you on what you want to see, what you want to learn. I will do another one on tone of voice soon, so I know that one's coming up. And if there's something that you run into in the AI idea bank that you're like, oh, I'd love more information on how to make that happen, let me know and we can dive into that together in one of these upcoming tutorials. Thank you to those that watched. I'm really hoping that this does help with your prompting, and I'm excited to see what you create and what you do with it. I hope everyone has a great day. If any questions come up, feel free to drop them as a new post in the chat or at the bottom of this video. Thank you.